Snake Blocker here, and I'm here again with my fellow brother. So Kylie and I are going to practice a couple different movements with the Apache knife fighting and battle tactics. Again, this is just a historic approach. It's something the Apaches and different tribes had incorporated as one of their successfully good success rate or probability of it working, and that's why they taught it to next generation through oral history. So if he just stays there and I have the knife, and typically they'll have it at a 45-degree angle, and they'll walk past almost like nonchalantly, then they're going to drive it up and out, and I have it right now in that talon grip position, and I go in, he sees it coming and he reacts with one hand in this case. If I fight it, I may not have it, plus you got to worry about all the other strikes that may take place. If I just smack my hands, that quite doesn't do it, so I'm going to use a body slam. So this is called smack the ant, but you can also utilize the body, because if I have it here, then I can drive it up and do the cuts. Or this time you're going to grab it with that hand. Again, I'm moving, I'm going to reset it back in its angled sheath. I pull back and he grabs with the same side hand. Same idea. All I do is I butt it and I stab him. That simple a movement, because if you picture it's say a 100-pound person against a 200-pound person, strength-wise, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. But all they have to do is turn their whole body weight into it to get that angle. So that's one application I want you to do. I'm going to do the same thing from the other side. So now I have it sheathed in my right hand. The ambidextrous fighter is a seasoned fighter, and you never know when you have accessibility to one side of your body or the other. So again, ideally, you want to try to come from the side, lift up. He's going to do the opposite hand on the first motion here. Now what I'm going to do is I can try this way for a few seconds, and you're going to see how it's hard to work. The first movement, when it's the opposite hand and I turn into him, it's just going to break his grip. And then this is what we call the scalping, right? I'm just kind of coming up the arm. If he holds resistance on the arm, when I turn, notice how it cuts up, 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 up into the neck if you continue the same motion. Same thing, but he's going to grab it with the same side. As I pass by him, a 45-degree angle, pull out, he grabs it quickly from here. All I have to do is turn in, and it either has his arm or turn in, it has his chest, heart, lungs, etc., or at the very least his stomach, depends on height. All right, second motion here, what we're going to do is we're going to do it where I come in. That was with a talon grip, and we're doing a piercing bison, the last movement there. This time I'm going to do it from the sky grip, meaning the blade's pointing to the sky if I punch my hand out. And he's going to first just do a single side grab, and it really doesn't matter which hand, but he grabs it instantly here. He sees it coming, smart for him. I can't do those prison shanks. If I wait too long or give him too much resistance, he locks out the elbow. Now I'm in trouble. So if you need to push it down, you can, but in the initial phase, go ahead and let go. He's not going to lock out his elbow. That gives me an ample opportunity to use my hip and drive forward and smack the ant into his gut line. Same thing, I'm going to pull it up and out. He sees it pulled out, he grabs it, whether it's that hand or that hand, it does not matter which side. If he locks out the elbow, it's not going to work unless I give a little bit of a smack here. So I can smack the ants down, create that, drive it forward, smack the ants with the hip. So that's another variation. I'm going to grab it with this hand this time. So he grabs it here. Again, if you see a little elbow in the bend, the lead hand, the lead hip, you bring it out and in, and you drive it forward. Adds a lot more synergistic movement, and for that single hand to resist, it's going to be pretty difficult. And then the third motion is if you're on the bottom, so I'm going to have him basically on his back. I mounted him like this. We're going to go talon grip again. He's going to grab it with both hands. Doesn't work. His two hands are far stronger than my hand. I try to push with the second hand, forearm. None of this is working. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to shift up my body weight and then drive all my body weight down, because he's going to have to support my entire body weight from this type of weird position. More likely it's going to break the hold of his wrist. If I switch sides, he grabs. You can practice, see how much he can resist, right? It doesn't work unless I bring my whole body weight up and slam all the way, and I'm going easy because this will still break through the skin, so be cautious of that. All right, so that's good on that. Go ahead and show another counter to that, because you work with your students also on additional drills.
All right, so this vision, right, should be familiar to anyone who's seen Saving Private Ryan. Interesting tie-in is that in Saving Private Ryan, it's built off of the Rangers in World War II, and the original Rangers were Rogers Rangers in the French Indian War. And so the Native Americans taught the British at that time, and that led to the first group of unconventional warriors being the Rangers. Now in that film, there's an iconic scene where the US soldier is being killed by a Nazi soldier in this position, and ironically with his own blade. So Snake mentioned how important lockout was. Now if I'm on the bottom of this deal, and in the movie, right, that was the problem. Even if your arms are both hands on one, if they're bent, he has the advantage of the body weight, which is how the US soldier was killed in that scene. Even if he has both hands on here, however, right, if I, instead of trying to like strangle his wrist, if I instead focus more like I'm doing the end of a narrow bench press, now he has a very difficult time with that weight. So he can put all his weight, he can come up on his hips even, right? And now he can't do it. So that's first part of that movement, is that I'm using the lockout. Now the second concept, and this is first concept with the lockout, was taught to me, credit where credit is due, by my friend and coach Tony Blauer of the PDR Spear System. On this demonstration is something he does all the time. Now in addition to that, if I get this initial lockout as Snake's bearing down, then I can utilize the jujitsu to turn that angle, and now that I know where this blade is, then I can continue to use the jujitsu, and then now I end up with the blade. So we'll let Snake show that as well. So if I'm bearing down on him like this, and instead of trying to strangle me, he's gonna do that lockout, then even though I'm a very heavy guy, I can put all of my weight, just try to hold the weight first, I can put all of my weight and put that 230 on him, and he's basically able to do it. Now the other day, Snake posted a video of him benching 225. Now you've just seen him bench 230. All right, now next level to this. What if I didn't do that? What if I failed? Okay, so he had both hands, but before I could get to lockout, it gets too late. I'm not going to be able to lock it out. Now, again, utilizing a principle from Jiu-Jitsu along with a principle from Russian system. So this is Russian Special Forces. I know where his target is. So instead of trying to control the weapon, I'm going to control the target, which is me. So if this goes straight, it's going to go right through my heart. But I can afford a scratch. So instead, I'm going to let it scrape me and go all the way to the ground. And now I capture it. And now I can utilize that same principle and come up over. And in this way, you can use everything at your disposal, as our ancestors did, to constantly improve your craft and constantly tweak your indigenous system to be able to continue to serve you going into the future.
Yep, great. Thank you. When we mix the